My name is Eddie Bales. There was a point in my life where I was struggling really bad. I was 20 years old. I was in college and I was working 3 jobs. I felt like actually working so many jobs that I fell asleep at the wheel. I almost hit the middle of this thing on a throughway. It was really bad, and I was like, I got to do something different because I just knew I was working myself on the ground, but I didn't know anything other than just working hard. I discovered entrepreneurship. I discovered that if you could solve another person's problem, then you can start earning a profit. So that's why I say success is not random. Like there's actually a formula. Actually follow the blueprint, follow the step, follow the formula, you can have success. Now, I know people just think, well, I just got to work really hard. But what if you could work less and make more? If you have the right formula, you can actually do that, right? And I've seen it personally happen in my own life where I've been blessed to be in a position where I earn more in a month than would have taken me 6 months to earn when I was in corporate America. Isn't that crazy? And so once I understood that, there was no looking back. Even the Bible, I was just talking about this a minute ago, even the Bible talks about if you serve a lot of people, you're going to be blessed. Success doesn't have to be random. Sometimes it may feel like that if you're not where you want to be. There's a blueprint out there and there's a formula. If you just follow it, then you're going to have success. Success is not even about just money or getting things, or it's about how much impact can you have on society? How much impact can you have on other people? One of my favorite quotes is, big doors rest on little hinges. One thing that I learned about it takes doing the little things until something big happens. We just stop in the little things because we think it'll never get to something big. If we just do the little things long enough, they used to say back in the day, either time will promote you or expose you. It's like if we do the little things long enough and be consistent long enough, it's just like, have you ever gone to the gym and worked out consistently and you don't notice a difference because you just see yourself every day? Other people are like, oh man, like you've been working out? People are like, I have been. You notice it? Because you don't notice it, they notice it because they see something, but you've been just consistent, so you just kind of see the same thing. But other people, they see the transformation, even though you just been consistent. Consistency is key. That's actually been my thing for the longest, is just being consistent. Because to me, it just meant I don't have to be the best. I could just be consistent and I can win. The concept, the slight edge or the compound effect. Sometimes we're not consistent because we don't know what to do. So if we just know what to do and we have clarity on what to do, we can be more consistent and we can start to lock in on it. With everything, I was talking about this earlier. One of the parts of the formula that I was talking about is having a system, because if you could deliver solutions to solve other people's problems, if you don't have a system that can allow you to deliver those solutions consistently, then it's not going to work for you. That would be like if you were at a convention and everybody's hungry and you show up with a handful of sandwiches versus a food truck, right? Like if you got a handful of sandwiches, you're going to sell a handful of sandwiches. But if you got a food truck, you're going to sell a whole lot of stuff because you're solving people's problems. You now have you have a system that can allow you to do it. Timing is everything. Having systems in place is everything. All of this is in alignment. You can be comfortable with the uncomfortable with something bad. You could also be comfortable with the uncomfortable with something good. Because for me, public speaking is not comfortable. I'm now comfortable with the uncomfortable because I've done it so long. Or talking to strangers is not comfortable for me because I've gotten so used to doing it because I want to eat. It's comfortable now for me to talk to strangers. Right? But on the flip side, what you're talking about is on the opposite side. Like some people are like when we get to a point where we're so used to a certain amount of income that we're just like, this is just what I'm going to earn. It's just the way it is. Or we get to a certain way of health. We get to a certain way of relationships. Like, no, you don't have to accept the relationship the way it is. Like, you can do something about it. You don't have to just accept, like the doctor said this, you don't have to just accept that diagnosis. You could actually do something about it. You got so comfortable with being uncomfortable that you just kind of like, this is just what it is. It doesn't have to be what it is. You can change it. I put together this quiz you could take, and it's just 5 questions. When you answer these 5 questions, it can help you answer if you're ready to what I call escape the grind. Escaping the grind is not escaping working or escaping hard work. It's really just moving and stepping into your purpose. So that's what help you to do that. We can give you some systems, some formulas, some strategies, and work with you to help you to do that. Or if you want to follow me, you're welcome to do that too. Success is not random. Sometimes it feels like we're just doing a bunch of stuff trying to get to a level or a place of success. Success doesn't have to be random. It could be an actual formula. I have the formula for you. I'm so glad that you're on this live here today, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about, is how you can have this success and have an actual formula, a blueprint, if you will. Now, I had 3 jobs because that was all I knew. I didn't know anything other than just working hard. Then I realized you could actually work smarter. Like, you could actually do less and make more. How does that work? I won't sign me up for that. And so once I started to really discover that and understand that, the rest is history. I haven't looked back. When I had the 3 jobs and I was full-time in school, my mom actually introduced me to someone. They shared a little bit of information with me. And to be honest, this is why it's very important not to block your blessings, because sometimes your blessings come in strange packages. The blessing came to me. However, at the time I wasn't ready for it. I still accepted it. I was smart enough to know that I needed to do something different. And so in order to succeed, first off, everybody on the planet has a problem. Multiple problems in multiple areas. Like, it could be a problem legally, it could be a problem with health-wise, it could be a problem with not enough money, it could be a problem with, I got a lot of money, I just don't know what to do with it. There's a whole lot of different things. It could be something like, I want to leave a legacy. There's all kind of problems that people have. The challenge is, you have 2 types of people. You have the buyers, you have the suppliers. Now, all of these people are in the same marketplace. So you have the people who have a problem, but they're ready to buy, because people buy solutions. Does that make sense? People buy solutions. So everybody has a problem. They look to buy the solution to their problem. See, people either want to avoid pain or move closer to pleasure. That's a human psychology that will never go away. Either we want to avoid pain or move closer to pleasure. When we can avoid pain, matter of fact, people will seek to avoid pleasure sometimes more than they get away from pain, ironically. But the point is, just that if people can find someone who has the solution to their problem, they're willing to pay for it. And so my problem that I had was, I was working 3 jobs, I was full-time in school, I was struggling, and I needed a way out. I found a solution. So I paid. My mom paid because I didn't have no money. I was broke. But my mom paid when I was 20 years old. That allowed me to go on this path of entrepreneurship, right? On this journey of being around millionaires and again, the first point that I want to make is that every problem has it creates a marketplace. Every problem has a solution. The question is, are you always looking for solutions to your problem, or are you actually a solution to someone else's problem? That's point number 2, is that people buy solutions. So everybody has a problem. People buy solutions. And they look for people who have the solution. So the money flows to the people who have the solutions to the problems. The third point that I really want to make here is that it's not just about having a solution to the problem. It's about having a system that you can solve that problem consistently. It's one thing if you can solve the problem once or twice or a few times. If you can solve that problem and do it over and over and over and do it with excellence, so much to the point that people start talking about you and referring to you and referring you to people and things like that, then the success is imminent. Success is predictable because you're solving people's problems. You have a solution. Now, for me, I solve a lot of different problems in the marketplace. One of the problems that I solve is, there's multiple problems. One of the problems that I solve is that people have issues as it relates to everyday life stuff. Like, they have legal issues. Attorneys are so expensive, they don't really know where to go, because if the average person makes $25 an hour, the average attorney charges $250 an hour, then that means most people just won't be able to get those problems solved because attorneys are so expensive. That's one of the problems that I solve. You know what? Another problem that I solve, I'm a solution for a lot of different problems. They all kind of fall in the same ecosystem. Another problem that people have is that people have a business. If nobody knows you, they can't buy from you. If nobody knows you, they can never buy from you. So you could have the best solution in the world, but if nobody knows to come to you to get it, then your solution is not going to be able to solve many people's problems. I wrote a book called The Social Media Income System. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to help some people who wanted to get their name out there, who wanted a system where they could actually be able to solve people's problems and be able to push what they do out there to the world. Because, there's some strategy that if you follow, you can get out there to a lot of people. So that's one of the solutions out of many that I've been able to solve. Another solution that I've solved is that there are a lot of people out there who are struggling. And there are a lot of people who feel like they live between crisis and survival. Like we work hard enough to get to survival, crisis happens and we fall down. Now we're scrounging trying to figure things out. We never built for anything past survival. So we live in this pattern of survival and crisis, survival and crisis. And so I wrote this book called How to Never Struggle Again so that people can get out of this crisis and survival loop and move to what I call the success line, then the new success line. This is powerful because it's a big problem that people have. By the way, how do I know? Because I had the problem. Once I kind of came to the solution, I feel like I want to help other people. There's a whole lot of problems that I want to solve. The thing is, we solve a problem and we help people. That's my definition of entrepreneurship, is solving problems for a profit. People have a problem, we have a solution, we solve the problem, and guess what? We make a profit. Success doesn't have to be random. It doesn't have to be, I got to figure things out in terms of to be successful or to get ahead in life. It could just be go find somebody's problem and go solve it. By the way, some of you already are solving everybody's problems. You're just doing it for free, right? You're just doing it for free. Like, are you the person that everybody comes to? They come to you to answer all of their questions. They know like you're the infinite one, that you're the wise one that they just kind of look up to, or they just feel like you know a lot of stuff. Like I got a few friends, they know a lot about a lot of things. So I know if I got a question, I'm gonna ask them because they probably know or have been through that. So you probably are that person. And if you're that person, imagine if you could find a way to package that up, right, into a product that could solve it not just for that person or for a couple people, but for a lot of people. Success is not random. It's actually a formula. It's actually a formula. Now, some of you are like, oh, I don't really know what problem that I can solve. That's kind of where I was at when I first took a look at the whole entrepreneurial space. I knew that I wanted to solve someone's problem. I didn't really know how to solve the problem. There's this thing called a traditional business where you could just start a brick and mortar, you could start any kind of business. Then you could have a non-traditional business. The reason why I'm a big advocate of non-traditional business is because it's very scalable, meaning that the systems are already there. So you don't have to build the systems are there. You don't have to build the website. You don't have to, all you got to do is make sure that a lot of people know that you have the solution to their problem. That's it. And that's a skill, that's something to learn. The point is, you can learn it. Those are the three things right there, guys, that helped me when I was a struggling college student to get to a point where I haven't had a job in more than a decade now. And I've been blessed to just be able to work from home and do it on my own terms and help a lot of people. So if you're the type of person that likes to help people, you're the type of person that you're tired of struggling, you're tired of, like, you want to be very, very, very successful, you're very ambitious, you feel like you just keep spinning your wheels, you feel like you just keep going around in circles, then this is something that you want to take a good look at, is how you can be, the formula, what I call for predictable success. The formula for predictable success. One of my problems right now is my brakes are getting low on my car. Guess what? I don't want to change it. I know how to change it, but I don't want to change it. Guess what? I'm going to find someone who can be the solution to my problem. I'm gonna pay them to do the brakes on my car. Why? Because instead of me taking the time to do it, I can be focused on other things that'll provide more income during that time. I call it opportunity cost. If I can, for example, I don't cut my grass, I don't clean my house, I have someone that comes to clean the house, I have somebody who cuts the grass, and my goal is to outsource my life, if I can, so that I can focus on the things that will bring the most income, so that I can have the most impact. Because It's pointless for me to spend an hour, let's just say, cutting the grass when I can pay a kid to do that. I can spend that same energy helping somebody else to succeed or having more impact on a greater amount of people. That's kind of how I look at things, is how can I have more impact? How can I have more impact? Again, everybody has a problem. That's number one. People will pay for the solution to that problem. Now, your goal is not to be just a buyer. 90% of people, I would say, are buyers. You want to get to that 10% when you become the supplier, because the supplier is there for all the buyers. Doesn't it make sense that if there's 90% of people who are buyers, then you want to be the supplier for the buyers? So, for example, there's a big convention going on. There's nowhere to eat that's close by to the convention. Guess what? The food truck comes up. Now the food truck is the solution for all the people's problems. Everybody's hungry. There's nowhere to go. There's no time to go a lot of places. Boom. Food truck is there. Problem solved. That food truck's going to make a lot of money. This is very important. It's one thing to be a solution to someone's problem. It's another thing to have a system that can solve the problem. Because if let's just say I didn't have a food truck. Let's just say that I just came with a couple sandwiches in my hand. I'm not going to have a system in place to serve a lot of people. That's problem number one. And number two is that we actually have to make sure that people know that we are the ones that have the solution. Like, you got the problem, I got the solution, I'm right here. Holla at me. And so we have to be able to get our name out there. We have to learn how to do some marketing, some sales. We got to learn how to, fulfill. We got to know how to do all those things as entrepreneurs and as business owners. If we don't do that, then nobody's going to know that they can buy from us. This is important. This is powerful. This was monumental when I first came into entrepreneurship and started to realize that I can be the solution. One of my favorite quotes is, if you help enough people get what they want, you don't have to worry about anything. You have everything you want. Another quote that goes right along with that, and this is in the Bible. This is not in the Bible. It's in the Bible, but not said this way. Service to many leads to greatness. What is in the Bible is Ephesians 6:8. It says, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. So if you're out there helping other people, you're going to be blessed. Biblically, it just makes sense that we become the problem solver. Like Joseph was the problem solver for the king, because Joseph was able to interpret the king's dreams. So now, guess what? He solved someone's problem. He became number 2 in all of Egypt because he was willing to solve someone else's problem. I could do this all day. But the key, guys, is solving another person's problem. Now, I get it. Some of you are like, well, man, I don't know what problem to solve. I don't know. I don't have any skills and I don't have anything like that. Well, that's why you want to reach out to me, because that was where I was at when I was in college. Is I felt like, oh, I don't really know what problem to solve. I don't have a system. I don't have anything in place to do that. Guess what? There are systems that are already in place that you can get involved with, where you can provide solutions to other people. And so you don't have to be the deal. You just have to partake in systems and stuff that are already in place that you can help a lot of people. That's why you want a comment formula, or just DM me, reach out to me. I can kind of show you more about how that works. I did put together something that can help. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the comments. A 30-second quiz that you could fill out. If you fill this quiz out, it's only like 5 questions. I'm going to pin it. So I just put it in the chat, and I'm going to pin it to the top. So if you go to that link and you just answer the 5 questions, you can see if you're in a position where you can, what I call, escape the grind, and be in a position where you can start helping a lot of other people, have more impact. Because what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. The more people that you help, the more blessed you'll be. It's not just helping people randomly. It's having a system where you can help a lot of people, so you can service many people. That's what leads to greatness. Even in the Bible, it also says, he that is the least among them shall be the greatest. What does that mean? It just means, are you willing to be the servant of a lot of people? That goes back to, it's so funny because when you think about the least of them, 90% of people have a problem, 10% are the ones solving those problems. Of course, there's a wealth gap because lots of people have problems. Very few people are willing to help solve all the problems that the 90% people have. Let's talk about some problems. There's a lot of problems out there. There's a problem of people not feeling good enough. You got therapists who can help with that. There's a problem of people not being able to afford access to attorneys. Guess what? That's actually one of the problems that I help people with. There's a problem of people having a business and wanting to get their name out there. They just need help with social media. Guess what? I wrote a book about that, the social media income system. So like there's a problem of obviously like somebody who's physically ill. That's where doctors come into play. Right? But guess what? People can't afford doctors. That's why they created health insurance. That's another problem. It's just layers upon layers upon layers of problems. There's a problem of people want to drink a lot of water and they need something to put the water in. But bam, somebody created one of these bad boys. You get what I'm saying? Success is so slight. Time is going to happen for all of us. When you get on the other side of it, are you going to be different or are you going to be the same? And you have the choice. You also have the choice not to. Even if you don't make a choice, you made a choice, right? Because you decided not to do something that's going to allow you to elevate. You decided what choice of discipline or the slight error. You have a choice between making the slight errors or making the discipline. It's so slight that then it just compounded itself. And so I was like, I got to stop doing this because it got to a point where it was dopamine. It was a dopamine hit because it was like, it got to a point where it was like, I looked forward to it. And it's like, I didn't want to stop it. I wasn't addicted to nothing like that. I'm just saying like, it was something that it was just like a habit. And so once I discovered where I was at and things like that, the whole point that I'm making is that it's so slight. And I'll just end with this. I was doing a training the other day, and like if you're trying to go from here to there, you're taking one step, two step, one step. But then if you take one wrong step, now you're going the opposite direction. All you did is take one step. Now you're going the exact opposite of where you wanted to go. You wanted to go that way. You took one step there. It took you that way, all because you made that one step. One thing matters. It compounds itself. Time will either promote you or expose you.